What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Jay Real. You are now tuned in to The Real Hip Hop Show, where hip hop is everything and everything is hip hop. Y'all already know what it is, man, and what we do here, man. So just to let y'all know, man, if you want your music played on The Real Hip Hop Show, send your music in MP3 form to The Real Hip Hop Show at yahoo.com. That's The Real Hip Hop Show at yahoo.com. So we can get that local music played, you know what I'm talking about? But speaking of local music and local artists is what we do here. That's who we support. So I just want to go ahead and introduce y'all to my homeboy, all the way out of Watts, California, the homie Ronny Too Real. Ronny Too Real, what's good, bro?
Man, life is good, man. Here I am, here you are. Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
Already, man. That's what's really good, man. How's life in Watts, man? Everything copacetic, man?
Well, for the most part, everything's good in Watts. You know, it all depends on what you consider good and bad. You know, shout out to Watts, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to every neighborhood and that can possibly hit this right now. If you're going through bad, it's gonna be better. I promise.
Most definitely, man. So shout out to Watts, man. You know what I mean? You know what's funny about Watts is that's where they filmed Menace to Society, right?
Yeah, man, that's where they filmed Menace to Society.
One of my favorite movies ever, man. So now talking to you, I feel like I'm in Watts right now.
Oh man, well, yeah, that's one of my favorite movies too. I wish they could do a sequel, but we all know how it ended.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's probably too late for that now. Anyway, they probably just messed the movie up.
Oh man, you know how they do nowadays.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. But okay, let's go ahead and jump into some Ronny Too Real, man. You already know what it is, right, man. Ronny Too Real, the name. Let's go ahead and explain the name for the people. Ronny Too Real.
Oh wow, okay, let's do it. Okay, so I used to be named Diesel, okay, and it was just on behalf of. I put it like this: my dad, his name is Ronnie D, and my name is also Ronnie D. You know, I'm a junior, so they was like, oh, Ron Deezy, Ron Dizzle, Ron Diesel. And it turned into just plain old Diesel. Well, after a while, it was like, okay, I need to be more personal about my music. I want to make it all real. So I just wanted to be myself. So I was going to be Ronny Real because all my music is based on my real life experiences and whatnot. But my dad, I talked to him about it, and he was like, well, I'm Ronny, and you Ronny Jr. You gotta let it be known, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, well, how about Ronny 2, the second Ronny, you know what I'm saying? So Ronny 2 Real, it has a couple of different meanings, you know what I'm saying? Ronny 2 is real, and Ronny is too real, you know what I'm saying? All at the same time. So I feel like I picked a good name for myself. Well, you know, the realest name I can get. You know what I mean?
Hey, I understand, because I'm a junior also, so I know how that goes, man. And that's dope, you know what I mean, being, you know what I mean, who you are. But speaking of which, man, I'm just sitting here, you know, talking about Ronny Too Real and the name and where you got it from. We speaking on your father. I see that your father is a former member of the band of Bloodstone. They had a top 10 hit, Natural High. So pretty much the music runs through your blood.
Yes, it does. Yeah, man, it's a history, man. I'm not the only one. It's a few different family members that have been very successful in this music game, man. And, you know, I'll shout out to all of us, too. Shout out to the Bells, you know.
Hey, that's pretty dope, man, because like, a lot of people grow up listening to music or, you know, whatever, but a lot of people can't say they got family that really grew up in the game. You know what I mean? Because like when your grandma sing at church, that's cool, but that ain't the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, all day. Well, yeah. Well, honestly, I grew up in Rochester, New York, up until I was about 13 years old, and my mom used to always you know, I play the oldie station here and there. Sometimes we'll be playing like, you know, the Bobby Brown and all that type of stuff. But my dad's band, the Bloodstone records were still coming on. And she would just be like, hey, that's your daddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I would always hear my dad, you know, on the radio. And once I got to the time where I finally got to like really meet him face to face, it was a good thing on behalf of. I had a love for music already, and I got a chance to see where it all came from, and he just like took a hold of that and started molding me into an artist, not only as a rap artist, but as a R&B soulful singer. So that's you'll hear a lot of that essence in my music as well. I can't keep away from it. I'm professionally trained.
Oh, so you can hit the notes too, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's dope.
Any singing you hear on any of my records, I did it.
Oh man, that's dope, man. It's so great to be able to do that. What's funny is because you don't hear a lot of. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but because the way they doing it now, I don't think it's really singing. It's more just like melodies or whatever you want to call it. But you know what I mean. You don't really hear a lot of males that can sing and rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Like the auto tune that took over for a while, giving a synthetic melodics, But if you really know music, all of it will come together the right way to another musician's ear. Right. And I want to appeal to the real musicians as well as the people that's just in it for, what's popping, what's happening right now. I really feel like it's important for my music to be timeless.
Right. Because
a record is, keeping a record of what you said, so that means in 20 years, we can go play back this record of me saying whatever touched so many people in the time frame when I said it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because that's what music does. It's to me, it's like music holds time still. Because when you go back and play, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, like when you go back and play your father's old records, it'll take you back to that time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And you see the reaction it gives your parents. Right, I remember when this song. Well, we made you to this one.
Right. I would hear that all the time. Boy, you was made on this song. Boy, you don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I feel like is important with my music and with a lot of artists that you play on your radio show is I want to speak to the past, the present, and the future. I want to make music the kids like. I want to make music that my peers like, and I want to make music that even my parents can listen to and appreciate as well. Because I hated the idea of I was making so much dope music, but my parents would never want to come out and listen to some of my shows because they're like, man, you're on there talking that stuff. Like,
They ain't trying to hear that. They ain't trying to hear none of that. I understand. Because my mother was the same way. Like, I would be rapping or she'd hear my music and be like, oh, I don't want to hear all that. You know what I mean? She would just be proud of me, but it'd still be like, well, I don't want to hear all that cursing and stuff. They just talking about shooting. Ain't nobody talking about nothing.
Right? And that's the thing. And speaking of that, okay, us as artists, we have to take responsibilities now, man.
Right.
Like when I was younger, I was a consumer more so. I had the artists that I like to listen to. Like I was listening to the Death Row, I was listening to Biggie, I was listening to the Rockefeller records and the Aftermath, all of that, And I actually was living my life, and my life didn't all the time go side and side with those records. And I had to realize as an adult that a lot of those songs is like molding the future, by influencing. Yeah. So absolutely. So as us being artists, we got to be responsible for what we put out in the air in the universe, because the kids is going to listen to it and they're going to grow up and think it's cool. Just like right now, all the kids thinking it's cool to do drugs. Like everybody think it's cool to be on Molly's and Xannies and lean when they're not talking about how many people is dying from that.
You know what? Speaking of
how
which,
many?
Let me ask you this, not to cut you off. I'm sorry, but speaking of which, right? Like we grew up in the era, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Jay-Z, Biggie, those fellas. And those guys were talking about being the drug seller. Now people are talking about being the drug user. But I don't think anyone talks about, like being caught in the middle of, like, for instance, your father's a drug dealer, your mother's a crackhead. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's a cold thing though, because man, like I can't even. That touches me kind of deep for personal reasons. You know what I mean? I've been involved in a whole lot of. I've been involved in a whole lot of situations where we're trying to get people to turn their life around when it comes to being on drugs. You know, I've been a witness to a lot of family members lose their mind and lose who they are due to the drugs. And a lot of people that come back from being on drugs but never quite got back to who they were before it.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right. So
and
that's
I
what you
also
throw in your music.
Absolutely. And I want to tell that story because I know I'm speaking to somebody that's going through that. And I want to give them hope. You know what I mean? If I don't give you hope, I just want to give you an alternative to a way you can live your life, but just to keep your eyes open and learn. Don't look at it like, oh, my daddy smoked smoke crack, but I'm going to sniff coke because that's hot right now. But I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better than them. No, don't take that. Don't even start.
Right, exactly.
Like, I've never, Like I've learned from what I watched.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Because here at the Real Hip Hop Show, we do not support the use of drugs. I'm sorry, but we don't. And people might say, well, how you don't support the use of drugs when the rappers on your radio show talk about drugs? You know what I mean? But you know, and that goes back to what you said earlier, man. I think that a lot of artists got to take more responsibility on what they're talking about in their music, because when you go on a song and you say, get money. So a child just takes it as, get money. But they don't tell them what to do with the money. You know what I mean?
Right. And at the same time, a lot of the masses are kind of hypnotized to what they've been hearing for years and years, that the only thing that we can do in our community to get out is to sell dope, play basketball, or do hip-hop music or whatever. But that's not our only options. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want you to believe that there are no jobs out here. They want you to believe that that the only way you can eat is food stamps. You know, and it's a whole lot more options out there if you really just try. You know, school, you gotta stay in school too. Like, you know, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and this is why I'm speaking the truth in this. Like, you know, I used to smoke weed. I don't even smoke weed no more. I used to smoke weed until they got to the point where it's like, why am I doing this? I'm always broke, but I always got enough money to buy blunts.
Right.
I'm missing my day, but I'm always over here trying to find out who got something on the next bag. Like, come on, man.
Right.
I could be doing something else for my life.
So what would you say to, you know what I mean, that 15, 16-year-old kid out there right now that's going through that exact situation right now? What would you say to that kid?
Well, what I would say to that kid is, I'm not trying to preach to you, you know, but I just want you to keep your eyes open. And if you are that person that's always sitting there asking yourself, man, why can't I get this or why can't I get that? Just step back and look at the part you playing in it by being irresponsible with your decision making. You know, if you decided I'm not going to go find a job today because I'm going to get high, that's the money that you was looking for to go and do what you needed to do. You chose to go and get high instead of going and doing what you had to do. So, you know, if you're that person, then step back and look at it.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. So, you know what, man, Ronny Too Real out of Watts, California, man. You know, I've played your music on my show. I've got other music that's coming, you know what I mean, that's going to be played on my show. But I want you to let people know, you know what I mean, about what you got going on right now, you know, music-wise.
Oh, man. Okay, well, the thing is, I've been doing it so long without being put in the forefront. A lot of music that you're going to hear is going to be new to you, but I'm always cooking up new stuff. So right now, what I want everybody to be able to be on the lookout for, I have a mixtape successful failure 1 and successful failure 2. I want people to be on the lookout for that because it's a must-hear music. I'm doing another album right now. It's called Amen, and it's actually an acronym. Okay, and the acronym is for musically entertaining novel.
Oh, dope. I like that.
Right. Thank you, man. And what that's going to be is it's going to basically be a biography of my actual life in music form. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, man. Be on the lookout for my. Actually, me and you are getting ready to do a record as well, right?
Oh yeah, man. That's about to be crazy lit right there, man.
Off top, man, and you know what? And I'm looking forward to the people hearing that, as well as many other projects. I've also had a lot of music with a couple of different celebrities. I'm not really gonna go into dropping names or any of that right now, just yet. But man, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be crazy, and it's gonna be timeless.
So as far as doing the music with the celebrities, those are the newer songs that people haven't heard, right?
Well, it's going to always be songs with those, but I have songs that I've already released that have a lot of different celebrities on it as well.
Oh, yeah, I see. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Because I see, man, you really been working out here, man. Like, people don't understand.
Man, I've been doing my
thing. People don't understand the grind of, trying to get the music heard and being in the studio and writing and beats and recording, you know what I mean? So explain that to a lot of the people that don't really understand the grind of making the music. Because people just think, all the time I hear people say, oh, I could have did that. So do you think they just could have did that?
Man, you know what? It's not about if you could have did it or not. It's always about what moves you make in order to make sure it did get done. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, a move that I'm making is staying positive, and I'm going to every avenue that I can go to, showing my worth. And the proof's in the pudding. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, I could have did that," but when we hear your music, did you do that?
Right.
Right. Did you? Is because when you telling the truth, and when you actually out here making these relationships with the people that's supposed to be around you, the music, it comes out in your music. You know what I'm saying? Like if you out here trying to make party music and you depressed, it ain't gonna really come out like that. You know what I'm saying? It's true. You won't have to record that again when you're happy. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, with the grind, look, man. Like you said, my dad was a recording artist, and I was about 13 years old when I started doing this music, and I'm well past that. And you just now hearing what it is right now because I'm choosing to put myself in the forefront as an artist. But it's a lot of people that have heard of me before as Diesel, but I was more so as a writer and in a writing team with several different celebrities. You know what I mean?
Right. So you was playing the background for a while, you know what I mean, writing and, you know what I mean, helping those artists, to be who they are. So what made you decide to say, you know what, man, if I'm writing for them, I can write that for me? What made you decide to step from the background?
Okay. Well, I always felt like I can write for me. I just had to go along with I had to roll with the punches, the way that things were presented to me. I had to do it. I was going to make music regardless because I'm my own fan. I really started making music because everything that I was hearing on the radio was cool, but the stuff in my head was cooler to me. So I would do a lot of recordings over the songs that I was hearing and playing that, and real artists got their hands on it and was like, hey, let me do this, but let's do it over. You know what I'm saying? So that's how my writing portion started coming to the forefront. And it had its perks. So I went through with that for a while. Then I stood back and listened to the response that it was making, And, some of the relationships went south. Some of them just faded to the background due to me doing regular life stuff and changing my name and changing myself, so that's how that all occurred. You know what I mean?
So you pretty much, in my opinion, instead of, I'm trying to figure the words to say it like I want, but instead of focusing on, what they're doing, you took that time to rebuild, you know what I mean, and focus more on what Ronny Too Real is going to do.
Absolutely. And now here we go.
That takes a lot of courage, though.
Well, I mean, it takes a lot of courage, but we got to make sacrifices, man. You can't come into the game with not fit.
True.
You can't not work out. You can't not work out and think you're gonna go hit that field and win the Super Bowl, man. You got to condition yourself. You gotta pay your dues, and you got to do everything that's necessary to make sure that when you do come out there, the people that really matter are the ones that's like, oh, I remember him. Watch what he gonna do.
Right. That's
dope,
dope.
Oh, right. And it's like, oh, you trying to get on now? Oh, I got something for you. I remember when you did this for me.
Right.
And that's how a lot of the records on Successful Failure were born like that as well.
True. You know what? And it's funny, to mention that, because a lot of artists, they go through the grind of, helping people out or whatever, and then they get where they want to be at, and they just say forget the people that helped them. You know what I mean? So, like, what's your views on that? You know what I mean? Because me personally, I think it's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But, like, what's your views on that, man? Like, how people help people get to these places or whatever it is, and then they just say, like, forget what they call the little people.
Well, it all depends on what was your objective from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a lot of people, let's not even say personally with me. It could be anybody that's listening right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can do everything in your power to keep helping people rise up. You know what I'm saying? But how high do you think you can get when the people ain't helping themselves as much? It's like, how high can you get with dead weight?
Very true. Very true.
You can't grab everybody. You can't grab everybody and say, let's all go to the top, because everybody gonna feel like you owe them something, especially if it's friends and family. If it's friends and family, they're gonna be like, well, I ain't gotta do the split sheet like that because that's my people.
Right.
And when the shit hit the fan, you're gonna feel like they're gonna help you out, but it's not gonna go that way. They're gonna turn around and be like, this is all mine.
No,
if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? So, but if everybody is really there, putting you on their shoulders and building this ladder for you to climb up and become who you need to be, then it's best that you reach your hand down and pull those people up when you're in the position to do so.
Most definitely. I got a question I want to ask you, being in Watts. You know what I mean? And experiencing California, you know what I mean, front hand. Because I think a lot of people, they watch TV and they hear the rappers and they feel like that's California, that's the end of the story. They watch the movies. But with hip-hop, you got so many rappers now that's claiming gangs. You know what I mean? So being from Watts, how do you feel about those rappers that claim, Blood, Crip, whatever nowadays? You know what I mean? How do you feel like about that in hip hop?
You mean the ones that actually live in LA, or the ones that come from other towns and start claiming something?
I would say the ones that actually live in LA. You know what I mean? How do they feel about that? Because there's so many cats now from, like you got like Tekashi 6ix9ine who swears he's the Blood. Like so-and-so's a Crip, so-and-so's a Blood, so-and-so's a gang member. You know what I mean? But they ain't never been to California or nothing. So, I just want to know your thoughts on it.
Okay, so for the people that already live in LA, what it is like a brotherhood. A lot of these people grew up in houses without fathers, and a lot of these people grew up in houses with big brothers and uncles. And, most likely if your uncle was big such and such and he get respect in the streets, then you want to be little such and such so you can get the same respect that they've already built. You know what I'm saying? Right. And get that. You know, it's almost like being in a fraternity or being on a team, or a basketball team or whatever. They just need to somewhere to gravitate to get other people that they feel got their back or feel love them. You know, sometimes you got people that got vendettas on the streets with other people and go to a neighborhood and like just want to join the gang for credibility and protection.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm from such and such now, so you can't do this to me no more, or I'm gonna go get all my homeboys. I feel like this, man. If you a man, you don't need to hide behind your gang to handle your business as a man. You know what I mean?
Because I feel the same way. You know what I mean? Because I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of blood homies, a lot of Crip homies right here in Carolina. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I completely agree with that, because I know some real G's from around my way that, you know, they don't hide behind the gang. I mean, they still rep they set, but they ain't running behind them and saying, oh, well, I'm going to go get the homie. And I think that's what's going on in hip-hop now. It's more like, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so, so I can say this, that, and the other when I feel like, nah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm not saying any of that to disrespect any gangs or anything like that. You know, like I said, it's a family, it's a brotherhood to a lot of people. But it is some people that join the gang and become rebels to their own neighborhood, you know, and start stuff and put people in the mix of drama that they caused and turn it into something else. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, how can you join a gang and all of a sudden you hate these group of people on the next block when you never had any problem with them people in the first place? You don't know them. You just came in there and said, oh, we don't get along just because I'm from such and such street and you from such and such avenue. Like, you know, it's really silly, you know, in my eyes when that occurs.
No doubt. So let me go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, now, like that was for the people in LA. Now, for the people outside of LA that come to LA and decide they want to do that, a lot of the time they're doing that for protection. They come to the city and everybody in the city is like, "Oh, such and such is in town. Let's go, let's go rob them, or let's go, extort them, or whatever." And then they just go and join a gang so that it can be put in the streets. Oh, I'm a part of a gang, so I'm cool with LA.
So they paying for the protection pretty much. A lot of
them. Most of the time they're paying for the protection. Some of the time they just want the credibility, like, oh yeah, I really am a gangster. I'm in LA, but they're not gonna tell that side of the story where the real OGs from that gang probably don't claim them.
Right.
You know, they're like, hey man, you just said you was from my hood, so now you got to pay a tax, and that's where the extorting comes in at.
Right, most definitely. I understand that. You know what I mean? But you already know how we do, man. Moving forward, though, how do you view current hip hop? You know what I mean? Like, how does Ronny 2 Real see? Because I know how I look at it. You know what I mean? I get into my part of it, but I want to know. You know what I'm saying? How do you view today's hip hop? You know what I mean?
Well, today's hip hop is really based on marketability. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember a time where if you came in, you got on the mic and mumbled your song out, they would be like, you don't got no skills, and you would get no respect. You would get booed off stage. You know, they would say you choked or whatever. But what the problem is when you get a whole lot of people in a mass group and they hear something that they think is whack, but they don't want to say it and feel like, oh, I'm going to be weird if I say it's whack or if it's dope. They'll just wait on the first person to say it is cool. And what the media does is the media brainwashes people by continuously playing the same music over and over and over again and screaming it's dope. And what that does is it we take responsibility for, turning the hip hop into what it is by agreeing that what's whack is dope and what's dope is now whack.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's crazy. But I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of these hip hop artists that you're hearing that's making music that actually sounds whack, they're actually dope artists, and they just basically gotta make what the time says make.
True. Especially a lot of the younger ones. Especially a lot of the younger rappers, I think.
Exactly. Like a lot of the younger rappers, we listen to their records and it's not even produced properly. But they swear and that's what sounds hot.
Yeah.
Because the kids like it. And that's why I said myself that I want to make music speaking to the past, present, and future. Like, I got to make some music with the kids that's making the mediocre sounding music to actual musicians. It sounds mediocre to me. I don't want to disrespect. Right. I don't want to disrespect the culture of the way hip hop is going right now, because I understand eras. Just like back in the day when my parents probably was listening to rap and it was like, what is that? They ain't even talking. And what are they saying? But we listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony, and it's really, you know what I'm saying?
That was kind of like the originators of mumble rap in a sense, because with Bone Thugs and Harmony, let's just be honest, the average person didn't know half of what they were saying. All they heard them say was bone. That's it. You know what I mean? So I feel
we just heard melodies.
Yeah, I guess that comes with the name Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I mean? But they did let people know that it was, it was harmonizing also, I guess. So,
Yeah, but that's just like what I'm saying right now with the state of hip hop right now is going with the times. And right now, I feel like talent is always going to win.
True.
It's gonna go back to, okay, now what are you saying? That's why you got artists like Drake. Like Drake is winning, but Drake was winning because he came and gave us a breath of fresh air.
True. True.
Cardi B is winning right now because for 10 years all we heard was Nicki.
Yeah, she was the only female in the game at that time. For like a long time, all you ever heard was her. Like, she would get all the awards and everything. I'm like, well, what about the other females? Oh, there ain't no other ones. So, yeah, I feel
exactly. So, shout out to the females that rap too,
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, but it's like it's all about the supply and demand. Like, what do we have?
Yeah.
Right. If all we have is mumbling, that's what we're gonna grow to like. True. But if somebody comes out and gets the right kind of publicity, the right kind of buzz with real music, then that's what we're gonna be on. That's what happened. That's how Drake won. That's how Young Money wins. I haven't heard a mumble rapper out of Young Money next to Young Thug, but
right.
That's how that goes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, like, what you would call industry rappers or whatever, who are some of the rappers that influenced you to, decide to, I'm gonna rap, I'm gonna make music? Who's some of your influences?
Okay. I grew up listening to a lot of my first music that I was listening to, because originally, when I was a kid in Rochester, I was listening to a lot of R&B music, and I would listen to a lot of alternative and rock and roll stuff. And I used to be like, this is boring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I got introduced to All Eyes on Me, that Tupac album.
Oh yeah,
I was blown away by that. Yeah, a lot of people would agree. I loved it, and then I listened to Life After Death right after that. So a lot of my stuff was based off of the first thing was Biggie and Pac. Then I heard NWA, Ice Cube.
Right.
Ice Cube was doing it big, man. He was one of the greatest in my eyes.
Oh, I think he's one of the most underrated rappers ever, personally.
Right. And from that point, then I started venturing out, and then I heard artists like Redman.
Shout out to Jersey.
Redman was one of the best rappers I heard in a long time. and he still is.
Yeah, one of the most lyrical rappers I've ever heard.
Exactly, and that's one of the ones that actually made me say, I'm about to start trying to rap. I want to do that because this was watching his visuals and the videos were always fun. His albums were full of comedy and storyline. And
so Ronny Too Real is a Redman fan.
Absolutely, I like Redman. I like dope. Redman. I like Redman, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z. I became an Eminem fan along the lines of the Slim Shady, the Marshall Mathers album, which was the second album.
Okay.
I also always listened to Lil Wayne and the Hot Boys. I was pretty much everybody was a fan of the Hot Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hot Boys used to be the joint.
Absolutely, man. And there's so many people I can go down the list with, but I want to say from my originating, what made me want to rap.
Right.
Ice Cube, Biggie and Pac, Redman, Busta Rhymes.
Okay, I can see that because listening to your music, you know what I mean, and the music that I've played and other music that I've heard that they ain't even heard yet, you know what I mean? I like your music because, you know what I mean? I hear the storytelling in it. I hear the authentic. Can I say the word? I swear to God, sometimes I can't get my words out.
The authenticity.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, I can hear how authentic your music is. And I think that a lot of rappers, you can hear the faking, you know what I mean? And with your name being Ronny Too Real, first thing they gonna point out in your name is real. That's the first thing they say when they talk about me, even though I spell my name in a whole different way. But you know what I mean? When you say you real, it's like, you gotta be authentic.
Yeah, we gonna check your background if you real. Check mine, you gonna find out more than music.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Because I think that I think too many rappers get caught up in trying to be real instead of just being who they are. Because I think being real is just being who you are. And when I hear your music, I can tell you just being who you are. So that is what makes you real to me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I really appreciate you listening. Because a lot of people hear music and they ain't listening to what are you saying. You can't tell me one thing. That's why the mumble rapping is cool, because they're not listening. They don't care what you said. All they want to know is did it make me dance?
Yep, is the
right
turn.
So,
that's all they care about.
Right. So in that instance, maybe they should be praising the producers more.
Yep.
And I don't understand. Right. What I really don't understand is why these record labels spend so much time looking for writers to write songs for artists when they don't sign why don't you just make the people who really did it the artists?
Yeah, true.
Why you spending all this extra money trying to make this person on a poster sound good when they don't really have that talent?
Because they quote look good, you know what I mean? But
right.
You know what I mean? That's all it is, because sex sells also. Because you could be the dopest writer in the world or singer, but if you 300 pounds, ain't nobody gonna listen to you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we can't say that because we got artists like Biggie, 8 Ball, and Big Pun that were big. They were all bigger than me, and
that's right. That's completely true.
They had that persona of having a bunch of women and whatnot. I'm not even looking forward to that myself. I'm not looking into it to have a bunch of women all crowded around me and stuff. Yeah. I just want you to like what I'm saying. I want to focus on what my messages.
Oh, that comes with the game though, so you already know. But
yeah.
When I was listening to your song "Get Right," and I'm gonna be honest. Okay. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I played on my show, and and people that heard the show was like, "Yo, who is that? That's a dope joint." I liked it personally a lot, and it was actually kind of personal to me just listening to it, to be honest. And it's the reason why I was on the top 10. But I know how people are about hooks, but that hook, first of all, the production, the flows, everything you said was so real. And when you was like, I done let too much life pass me by. Wow.
Man.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
Okay. How many people can say that out there? Show of hands. I know I can't see you, but I know it's your hands up.
Wow. Yes. Because it was so real, and that's what I really like about real hip hop. You feel me? Because it's that raw emotion. You give that raw emotion, and I appreciate you, bro, because you do that.
Thank you.
For people. You understand? Like, I'm an artist myself. I know. I play people's music and everything, and I love hip hop. But when I hear authentic people like yourself, it makes me feel good. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I listen to that song outside of the radio show. You feel me?
All day, man. It makes me feel good to know that I reached somebody. Like it makes me feel good to know that I can make somebody's day better by listening to what I put on a record.
Oh yeah,
you know,
man.
I want to be able to change somebody's mood. I want to be able to be that artist that you can just pop that CD in, pop that MP3 in, and zone out when life is treating you bad. You know?
Oh yeah, man. Cause I mean, like I said, bro, it was so dope to me, man. Like when I first, you know how it is when you first hear a song, it's like, okay, let me see what he's talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because, you know, with my name being J Real, I'm like, oh, he using real? He using real? Okay, let's see how real he is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But when I heard not only that track, but for me personally, that song, I don't know, man, it did something to me, man. And I think you gotta be heard, bro. You gotta be heard, bro.
Man, and I appreciate that, man. And it's a pleasure to be know that I can be heard on a real hip hop show.
Oh, most definitely, man.
Let's start from there. Let's start from the real.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Speaking of the real hip hop show, because at the real hip hop show, you know, the focus is mainly, you know what I mean, on like local artists, local talent, you know, underground music or whatever you want to call it. What advice would you have, you know, to give, you know, to local artists? You know what I mean? Because a lot of local artists they grind. A lot of local artists are really out here trying, and they can't get, you know, recognition or heard or played or whatever. So what advice would you give to those local artists that's trying just as hard as you are?
Well, you remember why you're doing this, okay? Do it because it makes you feel whole inside once you do a record and you feel like it's dope. That you can play a record to anybody in your neighborhood and get some feedback that makes you feel like we appreciate the work that you put in to tap into my emotions. You know what I'm saying? If you can continuously do that part and then do the other part, which is being marketable and spreading it out around, as long as you keep yourself grounded and keep yourself loving what you do, then it's gonna come back to you no matter what. It might take years. It might take days if you get it to the right people. But just remember to keep doing it for the reason why you started it. And it will always be what it is.
Exactly, man. I don't think a lot of people get that though, bro. You know what I mean?
One day they will if they don't now.
True. It's hip hop is so much now, you know, with it being so oversaturated, it's like just a big get rich quick scheme. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I could just go viral, I'm fine. Like, come on.
Right, so you're going to subject yourself to not being yourself and doing all kind of wild and crazy things, putting your life in danger or somebody else's life in danger, trying to mimic you to be famous.
Whack,
Is it
man.
really worth it?
That's whack, bro.
It's very whack.
You know, it is. You know what I mean? I personally, that's one thing about the game, you know what I mean, that I just really dislike. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I said, bro, like everybody just wants to be famous. Like, you know?
Well, what it is the image of being famous that the media puts out there. They only, like we going back to the news, they only show the part that we think is the part that we want to show. They're not going to show the part where everybody is stressing out, losing their mind over all these different things that's coming to them because they can't go outside.
Right.
They not showing that part. They only showing the part where I'm out at the car dealership buying a Lamborghini, wrecking it, and buying another one tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Right. No, you're right. Completely right. Completely right.
You know, that's not even the cool part. You're not even understanding your whole lifestyle changes when you become famous. Even with your bills, you could be rich, but guess what? That rich person struggling with their stuff just like you struggling with your stuff at the level you're at.
True, and they're probably struggling harder because they're trying to maintain that lifestyle.
Exactly, they're trying to maintain that $1,000 bill on the cable. Oh, it's $1,000 for you because you got it. You know what I'm saying? With somebody else is on a low budget, low income version of that, got the same everything that you got, just because it's available. You know what I'm saying? That being famous stuff ain't all this cracked up. I've really seen people go lose their mind over being famous and trying to maintain
famous. Man, the fame is more addictive than the money.
Man. The grind of how you just as hooked as all the fiends.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I really appreciate you stopping through. Ronny Too Real on the Real Hip Hop Show. Ronny Too Real. Anybody want to give a shout out or anything too before we slide up out of here, man?
First of all, I want to give a shout out to J Real on the Real Hip Hop Show.
Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to anybody that's listening to this that can relate or understand anything that I've said on this interview or any of my music. I want to give a shout out to KP Phenomenal, Thaddeus Joyner. They've been hooking me up with a whole lot of publicity, a whole lot of love been coming my way. I want to give a shout out to my management, CN Bell. The biggest shout out I want to give to God, the man upstairs. Without it, I wouldn't be alive today.
No doubt, man.
And that's it.
Hey, I appreciate you coming through, man.
Man, I appreciate you having me, man.
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure, brother. You know you're coming back, right?
What? I live here.
You ain't got no choice, man. The bags are unpacked. You're not leaving. You know what I mean? You're here to stay, man.
Definitely.
But it's your boy J Real at the Real Hip Hop Show, man. I really appreciate you, Ronny Too Real.
Yeah, man. Thank you again, man.
We gonna man, we just about to get up out of here, man. But I'm gonna play this Ronny Too Real, Get Right. I'm gonna let y'all hear this on the way out. It's your boy J Real, Ronny Too Real. Again and again, man, I'm telling you, man, this brother's dope, man. If y'all don't listen to him, you don't like hip-hop, I swear to God. You know what I mean? So we gonna get into this. We gonna get into this Ronny Too Real, Get Right. We gonna play that and let it ride out, man. It's your boy J Real, Ronny Too Real. Thanks again. Peace.
Peace.
This one is special. Rock with me, go. Maybe it's the way a nigga live, or maybe it's something that I done did, or maybe it's something I should've did. Whatever it is, it's what it is. Maybe I just need to go to church. Maybe this is punishment for doing so much dirt. Maybe this is a chance for me to sit back and observe, cause I may not be ready for what I think I deserve. Time to put in work, time to put in work, time to get them up and hit them where it hurts. I'm composing rhymes, later on they gon' be quotes. Mesmerizing lines, all the homies say I'm dope. Look at my watch as time flies, ticking away and I realize that I need more control in my life, cause I done missed some things I won't get to miss twice. Damn, I never got to see mama get buried. I missed the chance to see my dad get married. I wasn't there to hear my daughter cry for the first time as my brother's whole life. Man, I done let so much life pass me by. Man, I done let too much life pass me by. But it ain't going down like that this time. I feel like it's a sign telling me to get right. Time for a change and I'm ready for it. Now my daughter a toddler and steady growing. She my life, now my friends are only opponents. And the rest of y'all looking like my opponents. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Hustle, hustle, hustle. I swear it start to feel like a disease. The grind of how you just as hooked as all the fiends. But I'm breaking out of it. I'm on some other shit. I'm trying to ball like I went to college with a scholarship. Been under pressure lately and it's breaking me. You want the best for me, then pray for me. Something out of nothing is a statement that just don't apply to me. While I was sitting around, time flew away from me. Damn. I never got to see mama get married. I missed the chance to see my dad get married. I wasn't there to hear my daughter cry for the first time. It's my brother's whole life. Man, I done let so much life pass me by. Man, I done let too much life pass me by. But it ain't going down like that this time. I feel like it's a sign telling me to get right. Time keeps slipping away. Watch the hours and days turn into years. The people you love and the people you hate, watch them fade away until they disappear. But it's all in the background. There ain't no looking back now. It ain't no turning back those hands of time. There ain't no pause button and there ain't no rewind. I never got to see mama get buried. I missed the chance to see my dad get married. I wasn't there to hear my daughter cry for the first time. It's my brother's whole life. Man, I done let so much life pass me by. Man, I done let too much life pass me by. But it ain't going down like that this time. I feel like it's a sign telling me to get right.